The major concern for the Knicks right now is OG Anunoby and his hamstring injury. We already know he's set to miss today's Game 4 against the Indiana Pacers. But according to Andrijian Wojorniski, he helps us understand when Anunoby could potentially return for the Knicks. We're going to break down his latest report and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Woj reveals when OG could return for the Knicks. This is the major question right now for all Knicks fans. When Anunoby can return to the court for the Knicks. Because we already know when Anunoby's out there for this team, he just makes us look different. Not only defensively, but offensively as well, too. I don't know if we all forgot, but before he got injured in that third quarter against the Pacers, he was going off. He was hitting his stride, and he was having his best game on offense as a Knick, especially in the postseason. It's exactly what you wanted to see, especially with Jalen Brunson going down with an injury and not looking like himself. But now we're going to have to deal with life without OG Anunoby. But the question is, for how long? For how many games? Is he going to miss a lot of games in the postseason? The rest of the postseason? 2 games? What's the deal? Well, according to Andrijian Wojorniski, he gives us the following update about OG Anunoby and when he could potentially return for the Knicks. According to Woj, OG Anunoby, I'm told there's not been enough progress yet to think his return's likely in Game 5 Tuesday. Now, after Game 5 on Tuesday, there's 2 days off before Game 6 on Friday. So maybe there's some hope there. On top of this update, we have some more updates from Ian Bagley, another NBA insider with SNY, who gives us the following updates about Anunoby and what he's been doing with the Knicks as of late. According to Ian Bagley, Anunoby is here with the team in Indianapolis, and he's getting treatment 3 times a day with the team. And if you didn't know the injury report for today's game, shout out to Ian Bagley for giving us the following. Obviously, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Anunoby is out for today's Game 4 against the Pacers. Indiana's Tyrese Halliburton, though, is suffering from a number of conditions. Back spasms, sacral contusion, ankle sprain, and he is now questionable for today's Game 4. However, everybody does expect he's going to suit up and he will be available to play. Shout out to NBA insiders Ian Bagley and Andrijian Wojorniski for giving us the following updates about OG Anunoby. As Woj stated, obviously we already knew he was going to miss today's game, but now it seems he's going to miss Game 5 as well. If there is a Game 6, Anunoby might be available for that game. But here's my thing with that. I don't want there to be a Game 6. I want the Knicks to take care of business today, go back home to MSG, take care of business in Game 5, and then give this entire Knicks team, including Anunoby, a couple of extra days to rest, recover, and get ready for the Eastern Conference Finals. That's where we need to be. That's our goal, and that's where we're going to end up. In order for us to get there, we all need to lock in, stay focused, have that next man up mentality, and make sure we take down this Indiana Pacers team. Now, Anunoby and his impact, I cannot say enough about it. What he does on Pascal Siakam, I just think is so impressive and such a huge thing for the Knicks that we cannot go without. If you saw last game, shout out to Precious Achiuwa and shout out to Josh Hart. They did a good job on him, but they're not OG Anunoby. They play good defense, but they do not play Anunoby-like defense. We know the difference. Anunoby can lock you down. It's suffocating. Josh Hart, he plays well, but you can get past him. Precious Achiuwa, he plays well, but you can get past him. And that's what we're seeing Pascal do to both of those guys. Thankfully, he's not had a huge impact yet, and that's the concern. Yet, if Halliburton's going off, that's one thing. But if Halliburton and Pascal are going off, that's going to be a very hard Pacers team to beat. Right now, the Knicks have done a very good job, at least at controlling who's going off against them, whether it's Halliburton or somebody else. But at this point in time, the Knicks have to lock in and make sure they don't have another high-scoring Halliburton game. They control Pascal, make sure he's not a factor as well, and control their bench. If they can do that and play high-level defense, make it a half-court game, play in the isolation, and control the boards, They are not only going to win today's game, they are going to dominate today's game. They need to do that. They need to make a statement and take all of the confidence out of that building, out of their fan base, and out of themselves. The Knicks do that, they are going to close out this series extremely fast. And that's exactly what they need to do. I'm not sure how long Cleveland and Boston is going to go. I am praying it goes 7. But after yesterday's game, I'm concerned if that series is even going to go 6. We're going to have to wait and see. But right now, our focus is on Indiana and what they're going to do, how they're going to adjust, what they're going to prepare for. But we're going to make adjustments as well. Jalen Brunson is not on the injury report, and that's a very good thing for New York. That potentially means he's doing better than he was in Game 3. If that's the case, watch out, Indiana. He could have another impressive game, and if he goes off and you have another big game from Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart continues to give you double-double after double-double, I think this Knicks team is going to close out Indiana, make sure we take Game 4 like we need to do on the road, and then go back home and make sure Indiana hears all the noise that MSG can build up, because you know that building is going to be loud in a closeout game, because that game, in my opinion, is going to be Game 5 in the Garden, a closeout game that the Knicks will absolutely win. But we're not skipping any steps here. We're not skipping any games. I understand. Today is Game 4. We have to take care of business. Once we do that, then we can focus on Game 5 and going back home. But right now, we have to get out of Indiana with a win. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We understand the taste of defeat. We were so close of taking Game 3. Even with our key player in Jalen Brunson struggling, we were still close in winning that game. Game 4 is not going to be the same. The Knicks are not only going to control the boards, I have a feeling Jalen Brunson is going to have a huge game on the road, go off, close it out, and make sure the Knicks take this win, because we do not know any other way besides never giving up and always giving our best. Because we do that, we always have a chance to win each and every game we're in. But going back to Woj's update about OG, as mentioned here, after Game 5, there's 2 days off, and then Game 6 is on Friday. So there's a lot of space and time in between there. If we have to play a Game 6, which I really don't hope we have to, but if we do, it's likely that OG Anunoby could return for that game. So there is some good news here and some bad news. The bad news is obvious. It's the immediate. We're not going to have OG Anunoby right now. In my opinion, if we had OG Anunoby for Game 3, the Knicks would be leading this series 3-0 right now. That's how important and impactful OG Anunoby is to this Knicks team. I hope he comes back sooner rather than later. But if he's set to return for Game 6, I hope the Knicks can close out the Pacers before then so he doesn't have to return and put any undue stress on that hamstring. I said it before in another video. Hamstring injuries are very tricky. Sometimes they'll keep you out for a few days, sometimes a few weeks, sometimes even a few months. It really depends on how severe it is. Even if Anunoby has a low-grade sprain, that could potentially take 12 to 14 days to heal. That's a couple of weeks in itself. So if the Knicks can close out the Pacers fast and give OG Anunoby additional days to rest, that's going to mean everything for the Knicks and what they're looking to do in the Eastern Conference Finals. Because let's face it, I think we all can agree, this Knicks team can potentially beat the Pacers without OG, but they cannot beat Boston without OG. They're going to need him for that series. Hopefully, he's going to return there. And that's where the positive side of this update comes from Woj. If OG can potentially return for Game 6, that means the hamstring injury may not be as severe as we all may have thought a couple of days ago. Either way, the Knicks have to deal with the immediate reality. OG Anunoby will not be available today, and he will not be available on Tuesday for Game 5. That's what it is. We're going to have to still lock in next man up mentality and make sure we still close out the Pacers, win these games, and make no excuses. Unlike the Pacers, we're not going to talk about the officiating. We're not going to talk about potential goaltending calls. We're not going to talk about any of those things. We're just going to go into Game 4, lock in, take care of business, finish the Pacers off, and then go back home to the best city on earth and the best arena in the planet, MSG. That's where we're headed. But first, we got to take care of business. The Knicks are closing out the Pacers in Game 4, and they're going to make a statement. Next man up mentality is what we live by, and we're going to show you why today. But what about you guys? What do you think about Adrian Wojorniski's update about OG Anunoby and when he could potentially return for the Knicks? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace. Oh, and by the way, happy Mother's Day to every single mother out there. We really, truly appreciate each and every one of you. Again, peace and love, guys. I'm out of here.